And that's why I'll never sell feet pics again. What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be going over every DLC dungeon in the Elder Scrolls Online and how profitable it is. Recently I had released a video going over how to get guaranteed motive drops from all of the DLC dungeons in the Elder Scrolls Online, so check out that video if you're interested. But basically it boils down to you are guaranteed to get a motive if you complete the veteran hard mode of a dungeon. You're going to get its associated motive. But that begs the great question: one, how much are these worth on average? So in this video, I have the averages of all of the dungeons. So I've averaged the motives based on the console prices. So this will be even higher if you're on PC. And I've also picked out the individual best piece. So that way you know if, hey, you get something that's going to be significantly above average. Also, this will be in order based on release. And we will be going over a lot of things, so if you don't mind to like the video, that'd be cool, because this was definitely a lot more research in depth. But let's start with the one that's definitely not worth farming. And you will notice a trend also in this video, and that's they get better as you go. And another important note too I wanted to kind of point out too is I was researching how fast you could do these dungeons, and the general consensus is DLC dungeons 15 to 25 minutes. So if you were with a consistent group, you might be able to get 4 runs in per hour. So that's how you could think of this as a gold method explained, in that you could run this, 2 to 4 times per hour, and you're going to be getting, these motifs based on that. So let's just jump right on into it. And we are going to be starting with the Imperial City and the White Gold Tower, as they drop the same motif. That will be the only time in this video that occurs. And you'll get the Jivin, which averages for 6,000 gold. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this one because, unfortunately, and you'll notice this trend, because the tiles that have been out the longest are generally not worth nearly as much. So, moving on. Next, we have the Silken Ring style, which you're going to be getting inside of Cradle of Shadows. So this is the first DLC dungeon pack that we will be discussing, Shadows of the Hiss, and the average is 8,000, so we've already seen a significant improvement, but more so you'll see an even better improvement if you head on down to the Ruins of Mazatoon, because now you're averaging 12,000, and you're going to be able to roll for the chests, which is going to give you about 38,000. Unfortunately, the Silken style, really all the pieces are worth about 8,000, whereas the Mazatoon style is going to have a chest piece that's worth about 38,000. So, not too shabby there. Next up, we are in the Horns of the Reach, which you are going to be running firstly Bloodroot Forge, which will give you the Bloodforge style, which averages for 16,000 gold. And ironically, the #1 item is the helmet for 44,000. You'll notice that there's a trend of helmets, chests, and legs. That will be a trend that will stay out through the entirety of the video. The other thing that was released inside of the Horns of the Reach DLC was Falkreath Hold, and that drops the Dreadhorn style for about 8,000. Unfortunately, no real pieces really stick out there. But continuing on, we have Dragon Bones, the dungeon pack, which first will give you Fang Lair, which is the shittiest hard mode in all of ESO in my opinion. And it will average you about 10,000 gold to get the Fang Lair style, with the chests worth 44,000. So, not a bad one to consider. Next off, we're over to Scale Collar for the Scale Collar style. That's going to run you about 9,000. So, not very profitable. But now we're into the Wolf Hunter Dungeon Pack DLC, starting with the March of Sacrifices, which will give you about 11,000 gold per motif, and the chest will give you about 20,000. But we're going to see a slight increase when we go into Moonhunter Keep, which for a while was rated as my least favorite dungeon of all fucking time. However, it's since won my heart. Not, though, for this reason, as the average is 12,000. So it's about 1,000 gold higher to get the Silver Dawn, but the chests are worth 30,000 in this overall versus the last one where it was only 20,000. Wraithstone DLC is up next, and we'll be heading to Frost Vault for the Cold Snap style, where 25,000 gold is the average for the motive drops here, and I have 50,000 for the chest, but there's a lot of good ones. So helmets, legs, some of the weapons. There's a lot of good 40-ish K pieces as well, but chests will be your number one for about 50,000. And along with that, in its brother DLC, we have Depths of Maltar, which is another hard mode that I absolutely cannot stand. But it has a very nice average of 21,000 gold for its Meridian style, with 66,000 gold for the chests, which is a very nice item to roll for. Next we are going into Scale Collar, which starting with Lair of Marsalok for the Stag of Zen style, which will give you about 11,000 gold on average, but it does have a 40,000 gold chest, so take that for what you will. Next, we are over to Moongrave Fane with a very nice average of 19,000 gold for the Moongrave style for a 45,000 K chest. So that's going to be the number one item for you. And moving into Harrowstorm, remember that this is going to be one of the dungeon DLCs that's going to be doubled during the next upcoming ESO event. So starting with Ice Reach, we have the Ice Reach Coven style for 15,000 with 27,000 gold for the chest. And then to Unhallowed Grave, we have the Pyre Watch style for 20,000 gold average, not too shabby, with 66,000 chest as the number one item. Flames of Ambition, we have the Cauldron. Now, the Walking Flame style inside of the Cauldron actually has corrupted save data in the price checker that I used, but I was able to guesstimate around 15,000. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to tell you what the big ticket item was because of that. However, I would guess about the chests, the helmets, the legs. Black Drake Villa, though, we have the True Sworn style, 12,000 average, nothing too special. It's all about 12,000. Walking Flame, and here's where it really starts to get tricky. Now, the first one inside of Dread Cellar, I have taken the median because there is a big outlier, which you will hear. The median is about 21,000 gold because the number one piece that you can get in the Crimson Oath style is worth 285,000 gold. So it seemed a little disingenuous to bump it up, 10,000-ish gold. So your average motive is going to be 21,000, and you're going to be able to roll for a 285k chest piece if you guys run the Dread Cellar. And then in its brother DLC, Red Petal Bastion, Silver Rose style, 30,000, which is a very nice average to run with a 60,000 gold chest. So if you want to roll for a higher item, you can head on over to the Dread Cellar. But if you want to go into Red Petal Bastion for more consistent money, 30k a pop is really nice. Ascending Tide, now we're getting into the really recent DLCs here, and we have an average of 55,000 gold for the Ascended Tide's first DLC inside of Shipwright's Regret for the Dread Sail style. 55,000 gold for your average. Every time you run this dungeon, 55,000 if you can do it on hard mode. And the chest itself is worth 105,000. Now, it would seem a little disingenuous for me to not say, but these dungeons do start to get more complicated and more difficult. There definitely is a power creep in the dungeon, so keep that in mind. Also, when you want to farm a dungeon, some of these really do start to get become a little sticky here. So keep that in mind as we head to the Core Illyry next for the Ascendant Order style, which will give you about 40,000 on average with a 100k chest as the drop there, which overall is absolutely amazing. Now, we have the two newest DLCs on console, which is a little tricky to get perfect price data for because people aren't always appraising the items correctly. But in the Lost Depths, we have Earthen Root Enclave with the You're Free style. You're free. And that's about an average of 40,000. All of the items here seem to be doing pretty well, but I would say that the exceptional items are, again, the helmet, the chest, the legs. Graven Deep, very similar with Drowned Mariner, about 40,000, similar concept, about an extra 20,000 gold bump to your generic chests, legs, and helmets. Now, Important to note too, as we talk about motifs, is this the only way you can get these motifs? Because this is a snapshot EKG in time for these motifs, and they're actually fairly affordable. So you might be wondering, well, how does the market have some of these older motifs? I don't see people just farming Cradle of Shadows, until the sun comes up. And that is because some of the ESO events actually give you the ability to roll for these items. Most notably, the Jubilee event and the Zenthar event has the ability for you to get motifs basically at a random click, which does cause a bit of an issue to the ESO economy, because then it is not just people who farm dungeons to get these, it is pretty much anyone with a pair of thumbs who is able to get these motifs, which unfortunately devalues them slightly, but you can definitely still see that upward trend in a lot of these, and considering some of these items and averages are between 40 and 60,000, if you can get 40 and 60,000 in a 15-minute period, which may sound crazy, but if you're farming it with friends and you're farming it together, you're all going to get guaranteed drops. You're all going to be able to list things on the market. And if you do a variety, which is what I would suggest, is if you pick some of the best ones on this list, get a strong group together, run each dungeon maybe a handful of times, because you guys are going to all have to list up those motifs, so you don't want to be competing against each other for fighting, my belts versus your helmet versus my helmet. So just do a mixture. List up those items, and again, it's just a fun way for you and your friends to make a decent bit of profit, when going into these dungeons. An important little side note that I will finish with before I get into my usual spiel at the end is that this does not include monster helms. Now, each of these also has a monster helmet tied to it, and that is through a style. Now, obviously, each one has a monster helmet, but I'm talking about the monster helmet farm itself, which I have a whole video on. That's a whole separate set of circumstances. That is limited time farming based on which weapon pack is in the store. If you would be interested in that, please check out that video. But as my wrap down the video, this is just my plea to like the video, share the video. The giveaway has changed. For this month, I will be picking a random comment from all the pool of comments. So if there's 1,000 comments, boom, 1 in 1,000 chance that you'll get ESO Plus. And then, because I wanted to change it a little bit to make sure that you guys were actively watching and the people who were actively participating were giving back to, is I will then pull a comment from subscribers only. So one of the drop downs I have when sorting comments is subscriber comments. So every comment you leave, as long as you're subscribed, will be entered twice, because only 33% of you are subscribed. So subscribe, please. Oh, please. Anywho, let me know what you guys think in the comment below. What's your favorite dungeon to farm? Will you be using this to determine which dungeons you farm, or is this just more generic information that you just wanted to know? Will you use this? Will you not use this? Is it nice to know? Do you like the styles? Do you have a favorite style from this list? Do you hate farming dungeons like I do, because your friends take 20 minutes to get their makeup on and all their potions ready, and then it takes them half an hour to clear the first mob because, gotta run to the bathroom, someone's called me, somebody knocked on my door. Oh. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
Sorry, post-outro, I don't have anything for you. But I will be uploading my cat short here once I figure out how to tag this for maximum engagement, so stay tuned for that. It'll be released soon. I don't believe that uploaded shorts notify you, so you'll be able to find it on my YouTube homepage. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.